All righty, welcome back. This is still TV3Newday, and well, time check. It is 7:11 a.m., so it's time for the big issue to begin. And today, as usual, since it's Thursday, we have our ladies seated, ready to sink their teeth into some of these very pertinent issues. Joining me this morning, Margaret Ansay is a member of the NDC's communications team. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm already in high spirit, you can see.
You are?
Yeah.
What's making you so happy this morning?
Lara too.
Lara is making you happy. Yeah. You're happy to see her, right?
Oh, she knows why I'm happy.
Did people agree on the black and whites this morning? Well, since Lara has been mentioned, I might as well also say good morning to her. Lara Musa Saka is a member of the NPP's communications team. Good morning.
Good morning, Bella.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Are you also happy? I'm fine to see Margaret.
Why? I mean, how many are we as females in the political circle? So I'm always happy to see my fellow, especially Nanaya, not Margaret.
Yeah, we
don't be
week.
deceived. I have a third color in my clothes.
Oh, but so at least there's still black and white in there.
I also have white, so
but mine is pink and white. That's what Nanaya did. She's off. She's different colors. My dress of many colors.
Don't mind my go ahead mischief.
Well, we also have the General Secretary of the CPP, Nanaya Achimpim Janto. We missed her last week. She had to take a break to rest. But I hope you're in.
Yeah, I'm fine. My pressure is playing with me, but I need to.
Hey, we reject it.
Yeah, I need to deal with it.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
But you've rested enough and everything is okay?
It's up and down still. There's some ways.
This is Ghana's problems, that's it.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
You don't know.
Anyway. I was happy to see Tikuja, but she looks great.
Yeah. She looks like she's also really rested.
Yeah.
And she's happy about the decision she made to reject that posting to Italy as the ambassador.
She looks great.
Was it a good idea for her to have declined?
Oh, that one is a personal decision and a party decision.
Yeah, from where you sit, that's what I'm asking.
If she wasn't happy, why not? I mean, if we are not happy, we are not used to walking away when we are not happy. But I believe if you are not happy, it's better you walk away than to stay and be sad.
Definitely.
But she's looking great. Greetings to her this morning.
Anyway, let's get into our first story for today. And the National Cathedral is back in the news, and again, for not so good reasons. Yesterday, Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, the MP for North Tongu, had come out with what he called the first part of an expose that he had discovered after he traveled to the United States to do some digging on the National Cathedral. And in fact, the first part of the expose came with some 5 points, discoveries that he said he had made. The fact that the cathedral was registered in Washington, D.C. under a different name from what it's been registered in Ghana. So in Washington, D.C., the name by which it's been registered is the National Cathedral of Ghana and Bible Museum Foundation, Incorporated. And then also he realized that there was no member of the clergy that was listed as trustees in the U.S. documents that he went to check. And also the address to the U.S. Registration, he says, is fraudulent. And aside that, there's also one Mr. Carrie Lee Summers, who he says was given some $6 million as a consultant for the, in the U.S. And he's supposed to be a consultant on the National Cathedral and issues concerning that as well. He was given some $6 million. He went to the place where that address led him to and realized that there was nothing linking us to the National Cathedral at all. And then also he talks about the individuals who have been appointed as governors, if I may say, for the National Cathedral with regards to the documents that he discovered there as well. And he was disappointed that no clergy was listed in that. But the National Secretariat has responded to some of these issues. In fact, they have released a 2-page or 3-page document, in fact, 4-page documents where they responded to all the claims that were made by Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa. And we will go into some of them very shortly to exactly understand what it means for them. So one of them, in fact, they also responded by some 7 points. One of them, they're saying that the attention of the National Cathedral Secretariat has been drawn to accusations framed as 5 bombshells on the National Cathedral's activities in the USA. As the Secretariat has always argued, issues of accountability are critical to a project of this nature. Consequently, it is legitimate, and we welcome parliamentary oversight of state resources in the project. However, we insist again that parliamentary oversight is not exercised on social media, but in Parliament or through statutory bodies established for the purpose. Consequently, the Secretariat is determined not to draw not to be drawn into or engage in a constant tit-for-tat social media war on the project. And so they go ahead by first responding to the issue about the Cathedral project, which has been registered in Washington under a different name. And they're saying that the reason why it was registered that way was to raise funds to support the construction and maintenance of the National Cathedral of Ghana in Accra, Ghana, and a museum commemorating the history of the Christian church in Africa. In effect, the so-called difference in name reflects the two areas of fundraising in the U.S., National Cathedral and the Bible Museum. Then he says that the second bombshell is that the address of U.S. registration documents is fraudulent. This bombshell, unfortunately, stems from a basic but fundamental lack of knowledge of the U.S. nonprofit sector. A nonprofit organization needs a registered agent in the state of registration address in the District of Columbia. This DC address is a holding address which receives notices from the regulatory authorities and forwards them to the nonprofit. In the case of the National Cathedral, this holding address receives notices and forwards them to our attorney who incorporated the foundation and whose name and address is NR7 of the incorporation document. So rather than being fraudulent, this process is used by thousands of non-profit businesses. They also address the issue about no clergy man on the Ghana Board of Trustees listed in the U.S. incorporation documents. And they're saying that a full U.S. board will be constituted later by the board in Ghana. Eyebrows have been raised about that because why are they now making this decision and why are they now revealing it after the MP for North Tongu has spoken about it? Now, identity of two unknown men in the U.S. incorporation documents, they also go ahead to address those issues. And we'll get into all these details as we move along. But let me start off with Lerato on these issues, because as it stands now, about 57 minutes ago, true to his word, the MP came out with part 2 of the expose, where he's even saying that in actual fact, documents disclosed that, government also tried or has attempted to also register the National Cathedral Secretariat and Museum as well in Illinois, as even aside the registration documents that we have now. So let's get into it gradually and we'll build on that. How are you doing that, by the way?
I'm good.
Okay.
Bella.
What do you say to all these, allegations that have come up?
Bella, you read, good morning to our viewers. Margot and Nanaya seems to be happy to see me today.
Very, very
I like the love they are showing this morning. That's the same way. I don't think anybody around this table, in principle, disagrees with the construction of a national cathedral. I don't think so. But, everything we're doing is we're doing well. So if there are issues, that there are gray areas and issues, definitely they must be addressed. You read what the MP for, is it North Tongu?
North Tongu, yeah.
Put out, and what the response to the national, from the executive director of the National Cathedral. And I'm wondering why we should spend time on this when they are constitutionally mandated bodies to investigate some of these things. One is making an allegation. The people in charge of the cathedral say what he's saying is not true. They're constitutionally mandated bodies to make sure. And the same person making the allegation, look, I'll be the last person to say that if someone is suspected or there's something untoward going on, especially when it involves the taxpayers' money, we should not deal with it. But I'm totally against this kind of showmanship, trying to turn things into popularity contest. This is a member of parliament, for crying out loud. This is a member of parliament who has been put there to have oversight over what government does and make sure that whatever the state resources are used and put to good use. Why will such a person turn such a serious and important discussion into like some movie premiere and all that? What is bombshell? You are a member of parliament. You've gotten information on a major project that government is contributing to. Why come and put it on Facebook?
He shouldn't?
And prejudice the whole thing. Why?
Is that what you think has happened?
That is what I think he's doing.
But
it's not about him. as the MP for North Tongu. It's not about him as an individual. It's about everybody.
But
It's
what's
a
wrong in
national
informing
cathedral.
the same people whose
Informing
taxes are
who?
being used
The same people
some way,
who's-
somehow to contribute to
Bella.
the building of the cathedral?
Bella, the fact that I come here most Thursdays doesn't mean that I can just get up and come and sit in the host's chair. I'm part of it. I'm part of the panel. I contribute to what happens on the set. But that doesn't mean I can get up one day and feel like I'm the host and come and sit in your chair. So the same people who you are trying to protect are the same people who go according to the constitution of the program, whose taxes are used to pay people, including him, to make sure that, and there are processes to doing these things.
What would you
Look,
have him rather do?
What would I have him rather do? Are there no committees in Parliament that oversee these things? We've had people held to Parliament for making comments that are distasteful to the persons of members of Parliament, held to Privileges Committee. Every minister appointee, judges go before Parliament to be vetted for the people. The moment you get into the House, you represent a constituency, a nucleus of Ghanaian citizens. They are there to protect us. So there's nothing wrong going about it. But you see, you can be doing the best of things. You can have the best of intentions, but approach matters. People are prejudiced. Social media is not a platform for only Ghanaians. It's a global platform for everyone. You don't put information critical like this there. Let people form their opinions. And you see, that is why we keep weakening our institutions and we complain that our institutions are not working. Just this morning, you're talking to a fire service or a fire officer, right? You were amazed at some of the things he was saying. If we keep weakening our institutions, that's how it's going to go. So you keep putting information there, people make their opinions. The moment the right information comes out, look, everybody is talking about this bombshell and all. What about what the National Cathedral is saying? So who becomes the arbiter?
But they've also responded publicly.
That's what I'm saying. So he's making an allegation. But what would have prevented the Honorable MP for North Tongu to take it through Parliament, or even ask Parliament to invite the Cathedral to come and say
but
these
if things were done the right way and the Secretariat has nothing to hide, they shouldn't be worried about what is on social media.
But the Secretariat has responded.
No, but you are saying that he should not have gone on social media in the first place because there are avenues to address this matter. If you have nothing to hide as a Secretariat, as a government, you shouldn't have a problem
there have been a number
with
of
which channel he chooses to post his
look,
exposés,
when we are dealing with issues to do with personalities who equally have families, are people who have worked, tried to build their professional career, we need to be careful. Look, there are a number of times that I've had issues with TV3, not necessarily the institution as a whole, but there are times that I've come, I'm not happy about what is done. I say it, right? But if I get up and go onto my social media handles and attack you, have I been fair to you? So we also need to have recourse to some of these things. Nobody is saying don't investigate. Nobody. Why do we have the Whistleblowers Act? Why do we have the Right to Information Law? All these things are there to help us to curb it, because we all want our taxes, the hard-earned taxes that we pay. We work hard to pay these taxes to be used and used well. But in making sure that these things are used well, we also shouldn't make it difficult for the constitutionally mandated institutions to do things and protect us. I mean, definitely.
And protect people necessarily?
All of us. Isn't it? Don't you pay tax?
Which is why I have a right to know what's going on.
Exactly.
So if an MP has done an expose,
today,
I would want to know what he has discovered.
Come again.
If someone has done an expose, I would want to know what he has discovered.
Why will a member of Parliament, so then what are journalists supposed to be doing? Or he suddenly added that to his
But there's nothing wrong if he also decides to go and investigate these matters.
Bella, let's put it in context. There's nothing wrong with him seeking information, with him seeking. We all do that. Even when we go to service providers and all that, we complain about things. You get it? But if I go to a place and I do it, some of the places are public places. They have handles and all that. You complain about it. But this is state money. This is your tax. You don't want people forming opinions. The right institutions are not doing it. Just recently, what was the issue? When the issues of Galamsey and all that came, we've called them, but special prosecutor is investigating it. An MP has petitioned Shraj. They are going to look at it. It's within their the police special investigation units are there. IOCO is there. National Investigation Bureau is there. Parliament itself, the people we vote in there, is there.
He says he has filed a motion.
You get it. You filed the motion, but you've already put the information there. How neutral, if I may, is it going to be? There are already biases. But that is where I come in.
Should we not be concerned about the allegations that are being made? Honestly, some are very dire. In fact, all of them, if you ask me. And it goes back to some of the issues that some members of the board had come out to complain about. And Reverend Daggy Mills is one clear example.
Yes.
When the story broke about him, stepping down as a board member of the National Cathedral Secretariat, he said that one of the reasons why he felt he didn't have a say was because even though he opined, ideas about what should be done, it looked as if there were some external forces that even had a higher power and we're deciding things altogether. Now, if you look at what Honorable Kujetua Blackwell has said, he's even talking about the fact that there was no member or clergyman on the Ghana Board of Trustees that was listed in the U.S. incorporation documents. It's 3 different people from the national board. And so if something like this is coming out, does it not corroborate something that's already out there about
Bella,
a member who says, I did not even have a say and all my ideas, all my opinions were shoved to the side?
Bella, we are not
Are these
saying,
not the things we should be more concerned about?
You are not saying anything different from what I'm saying.
How so?
Issues that have been raised are concerns to everyone, needs to be looked into. The cathedral has also come, the secretariat has also come out with a response to it, debunking every single
not necessarily
allegation that is unless you've seen
because
something that they
because even with the issue about the clergyman,
Yes.
the Secretariat says that a full U.S. board will be constituted later by the board in Ghana to align with the January 6, 2022 opinion of the Attorney General. And he even said that they may include a clergy when they decide to go ahead with this. So they are not debunking. Clearly, it is true that there's no clergyman in the Board of Trustees in the documents in the U.S.
Don't also forget that earlier on, I don't know which section of it, but it also makes it clear that the board that has been set here is an interim board.
They made it clear where?
It's in the response.
Yes, but then Honorable Kujetua Blackwell is saying that when he went through the documents, further, perusing the documents, it didn't state anywhere that the 3 people who were listed as Board of Trustees for the, the cathedral in the U.S. were holding interim positions. There was no word like interim in any part of the document. So what's the guarantee then?
They tell you that registration there is not a branch of the thing. See, when we do this, then we murky the issue.
How so?
We never get anything solved in this country. You keep referring to the MP's allegations. That is what is appealing to you. There's nothing wrong with that. My money is going into something. It's not being used for the right thing. Someone is sitting somewhere doing. But what about what the Secretariat is saying? So if we think the MP has made an allegation, he's filed a motion. Couldn't he have done that rather than doing what he did on social media to murky the issues? The Secretariat has come with an issue. Who best is placed now to make sure that we get what we deserve as citizens because our taxes? It's either Parliament, it's either the other constitutionally mandated thing. But you go and sit on social media. What is bombshell? I mean, nobody wants their money. And I'll repeat that. Nobody will say, especially to do with a cathedral. And when the issue started coming up, you heard all these revered men and women of God come out to talk. You get it? It's something that must be looked into because the issues are becoming one too many.
Okay.
But is this the approach we want to use? Will the approach the MP use solve anything? I don't think so.
Nana, will the approach solve anything, or do you think that it was wrong on the part of the MP to come out on social media to post this expose?
That one is this prerogative. Bella, good morning and good morning to your viewers. Good morning to my dear Laratu and Mago. I'm so happy when I'm in their midst. And good morning to my CPP comrades. And good morning to my friend Latif. He's working on his primaries, and I hope that it goes well for him. Latif done.
Which part?
That is not your business now. That is my friend. Doesn't matter the party. Baby.
Please carry on.
The point is that it's his prerogative because I don't know the background of how or who he's doing this with. If he's done his own research or he's on his own mission to unearth issues.
That's what he said. He said he's on his own and he's not being backed.
So that one is prerogative. And social media to his media. You cannot negate the impact of social media. And it is his prerogative to decide which medium to use. That one, nobody can fault him. But the issue is that if whatever he has found out had been public to everybody, it wouldn't be an issue. Because this is of public interest. The project is a national cathedral. Something national concerns the nation. And so if for any reason the government decides to do or have an analogous institution outside this country, and for which reason, they should let everybody know. It has never been mentioned anywhere. I am surprised that the Secretariat have come up with a quick rebuttal.
They shouldn't have?
No, but why a rebuttal? Because if really you were informing us and telling us with all the issues around the cathedral, if you were being transparent, somebody will not be a curious judge to find out what is going on. As long as you are not telling us, you are not, informing us about it, certainly you find a curious judge who would want to know what is going on. $6 million have been paid to somebody, an American, to do what? To be a consultant for fundraising or whatever.
Secretariat says that he has not been paid more than,
even
in fact, he's been paid less than $1 million.
Even $200,000. You are looking for money to build, and you are paying somebody money to look for money for you. There are so many churches which have Ghanaian populations in America. Huge populations. So if you even use these churches as a point of contact, you will be able to raise funds within the churches and pay your taxes and carry your money to do whatever you have to do. Do you need to incorporate another body in the US? Okay, they are saying that it is a CSO, so they need an address. But are you telling me that CSOs don't have functional offices? Because it's a non-profit. Non-profit, they have functional office, and as part of your fundraising, as you raise funds for a cause, you include your office. You include the staff who work in a non-profit. They have to be paid. If not paid, they should be given an allowance. So as part of your budget for fundraising, you need to put all these things in. You need a proper office. So it is a bit, the word is not coming, but it's a bit infantile for anybody to defend that they need an office where it can be any place just to receive letters. Then it means that there is, even this one brings the issue of a scam. Because if you have any office at all that you only receive letters but not identifiable, there's nobody sitting there, and when you go there, the place is locked up, it's like a barn and all that, then it is not right. You see, the National Cathedral from the very beginning has been problematic. You remember a certain amount was taken and it wasn't taken to Parliament for approval, and they said it came from the contingency vote or something like. Do you get me? So it is all shrouded in some form of secrecy. And Bella, look at how much money we have spent, and we haven't even raised a pillar.
339 million Ghana cedis at the
Yes,
moment.
for a whole. Can you imagine?
We're expecting to spend some 80 million extra this year.
Yes, for a whole.
No, there's no 80 million for Cathedral this year.
There's no. It was in the budget.
That money
Lerato.
that money was applied to Parliament raised an issue. The 80 million was allocated to roads and communication.
Okay.
There's no 80 million.
So
for
the point is that
Cathedral
whether
this
it is 80 million or not, whatever has been spent can build a cathedral for God. That money that has been spent to dig holes, it can build a cathedral for God. Now what we are doing is that we are importing the misuse of taxpayers' money. Yes, because now you are in the US, the money that you are raising is the taxpayers' money. And now the importation of the misuse of taxpayers' money is in motion. Because the funds that you are raising in the USA, who is accounting for it? Do you get who is accounting for it? Who knows how much has been raised? If you are paying even $20 to somebody to help you raise funds, you should see some form of evidence that the money that I paid is yielding some results. You see, Bella, we cannot continue doing these things. And I believe that nobody is against the building of a cathedral for God. But it should be done right. It should be done right. Because if you don't do it right, then you insult God. And if you insult God, you get the wrath of God. Because what God hates is for you to be dishonest, for you to lie. If you go into the Bible, Proverbs 6:16, one of the things that God abhors is deceit. And this is exactly what is happening. You are building God's temple and you are adding deceit to it. Why should it take somebody, a member of parliament, to unearth that there is a company? Of course, we all knew there was a company, but we didn't know the people who were in there. We thought that it's the same people who are here who were in the US. But now we are hearing something different. So you have two companies. Why is that? Then are you maybe telling us that the people who are here, maybe they are not American citizens, so you should come and tell us. Maybe they cannot be members of the board because they are not American citizens.
You don't have to be a citizen.
I'm just asking. I mean, there should be a reason why all these pastors, they have churches. Do you think that if the government wants to raise transparent funds, they cannot use some of these ones, the bishops, the archbishop. Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams has so many churches in the US. Dark Eward Mills has a lot of lighthouse. Everywhere you pass, you find a lighthouse church. Do you get me? Those churches, if these men of God are on the board in the US, wouldn't these churches be a point of fundraising? Genuine fundraising. This fundraising is shrouded in secrecy. It's as if somebody has the intention to do something else. Because why is it shrouded in secrecy? Because they should even come and declare and let us know how much they have raised. But nobody even knows that something like that is going on. And now you see this cathedral, and the beginning of this cathedral, it was said that it was the promise of the president to build a cathedral for God when he wins the election. I am so surprised that there's so much land outside Accra. If you want it to be a pilgrim, who wants to go on a pilgrimage in the middle of Accra? You could build it at Pram Pram. You could build it at Cape Coast. You could build it outside anywhere. That is where you say people are going on a pilgrimage. But you break down all these houses. We haven't even quantified how much those houses would have cost. Then you use 339 million, not even a foundation. We don't know what it is, whether you want to start some fish ponds before, you build or what. It is lying there. When it rains, it fills with water. When the sun shines, it dries up. And it is sitting there. And there's so much controversy around this. Bella, I think that there should be a halt
to the building of the cathedral.
Yes. Where is the building?
But we're losing almost 400 million Ghana cedis anyway.
No, we have lost it. What was it used for? Haven't you lost it? Right now, what that money is gone. It's gone into what we do not know. Do you get me? And why do you even need to set up a secretariat to build God's house with staff, a communications person, this, that? Why? If you want to build God's house, why do you now? Are you starting an establishment? Are you starting an establishment? And I even asked the question. We have so many churches in this country. On Sunday, what is the purpose? The nation should come together as one and decide that this is what we are looking for. And as we are looking for this is what we want it to do for us. Because every Sunday I go to my church, you go to your church, Margot goes to church, Laratu goes to the mosque on Friday. We all have our places of worship. So this monument that we are putting down, they are talking about Bible museum, and we have Bibles at home.
Yeah, but this is supposed to attract people into the country.
But the
pilgrims into the country.
Please, the best Bible.
Religious tourism.
No, the religious.
From what? Yeah, let me check the website
you see, that's why I always say that then we have lost it.
Why?
You are making business out of God's house, a religious tourism. Then you have to build a grotto, a place where people will come and pray. Do you get me? A sanctuary. Not a cathedral.
Is that not part of what is being built?
No, but I am saying that you are going to make it a tourist attraction. Jesus said that my house, my Father's house, shall be called a house of prayer.
But if you go to Abu Dhabi, it's also attracting tourists to their mosque.
I am telling you that if you are building a cathedral for God, you don't mix. If you know the God you are serving, people make a mistake. That doesn't mean that we should also make a mistake. Do you get me? If you want to build a cathedral for God, and besides, how many people can go to Yamoussoukro, the basilica?
Yeah.
What has happened to it? How many people go on tourism? I am telling how many people go there. You see, when people are going on a spiritual tour, they are going to Israel. They are going there because they want an attachment to Jesus Christ. If people are going to Mecca, they want to go there because they want an attachment to Muhammad. So if you are going to build a cathedral and say it is going to be a tourist attraction, the people who are coming in their countries, don't they have cathedrals bigger than that? They do. But if you are going to Israel or you are going to any of these nations you are talking about, there is an attachment. I don't just get up and go to Israel. I go to Israel because I want to go and see where Jesus cursed the fig tree. I want to go and see where Jesus was laid in the tomb. I want to go and see where Jesus was baptized. I should have an attachment, the Jordan River. I want to go and bring Jordan water and have an attachment. Do you get me? That is what it is. Here, which one is that? Which attachment are you going to have as you do your tourism? Is it Kweku free or Komfanoche?
There's a Bible restaurant. You go and eat there.
Oh, I mean how? Because
There's
you see,
a Bible what?
Restaurants.
They've designed a restaurant.
And it's different from what
That is
the concept of what is being done.
You know they added a few more.
Exactly.
no, but why do
designs
so there's a place of
to
worship.
the original plan?
if I am worshiping, if I'm worshiping God, yes, I have to go.
No, I
And,
think you need to check what they
no,
say
no,
they
no.
want to do.
That is, you see, that is not
And,
the what they want to
speak to it
what they
in
want
the
to.
Larissa, please hold on.
No, please hold on. What they want to do is negative for God, because you see, Nanado didn't say that God said that you should build him a tourist attraction. He said you should build me a house. I will build you a house of worship if you make me a president. And that is even a personal pledge. I always use the issue of Jephthah. When Jephthah came from, when he was going to war, he told God that, God, if I am victorious, the first person who meets me at the gate, I will sacrifice the person to you. And unfortunately or fortunately, when Jephthah got there, his only daughter was the one who came dancing, meeting the father who was victorious. Then he had to do it. So if you make a promise to God, you don't include people. You see, when it happened, Jephthah did not go and take his son's daughter to come and sacrifice. Do you get me? He did it because he promised God. He didn't promise God that, unless he promised God that he was going to do a tourist this thing.
We're not privy to the exact.
He
just told us that he said he'll build
a
cathedral.
A cathedral, a house of prayer, a house of worship.
But you're asking that they put a stop to it or they halt
Yes,
the
they should
building.
halt the building.
You won't be the first person to say that. But as it stands now, if you look at what the Honorable MP has put out in part 2 of what he calls an expose, he says that I can now reveal in the spirit of truth and accountability that on the 2nd of September 2022, an additional application was made for another National Cathedral of Ghana and Bible Museum Foundation Incorporated to be incorporated in Illinois. This application was certified and approved on October 2, 2022. Interestingly, the articles of incorporation in my possession make Vernon Darko the president and director, Eric Otre Darko as secretary and director, and Paul Opoku-Mensah a director. These are the 3 people who were even listed in part 1 of his expose. So it doesn't look like they are pulling the brakes.
No, but they have
this
to
at the moment.
because it has become too murky, Bella. They have to.
But they are not listening to you.
No, but if they are not listening to me, they will listen to God, because you see, God will lift His finger, and when God lifts His finger, you cannot fight Him. They will listen to Jehovah Himself, the consuming fire, the terrible one. That is His building we are joking with. Do you get it? Let me tell you, God lives in the hearts of men. The body of a man is the temple, but He also allows us to worship Him in buildings. That is why when David wanted to build a temple for him, because David had a very close relationship with God. David is one of the few people God said, this is a man after my own heart. But when David wanted to build a cathedral for God, what did God tell him? He said that his hands had been soiled with blood. So his son, Solomon, will be the one to build it. And when Solomon was going to build the temple, God provided the resources for him to. There was no issues around it. So when you are building God's temple, and it is genuine from your heart that today I am doing this. Do you get me? I am doing this to make sure that God is glorified in the nation. You would not have controversy around. You would not use it as a conduit for making money.
Okay.
Do you get it? Because, Bella, as I said, that 339 million will build a cathedral for God. God doesn't need a museum, and everybody has a concordance in their home. Today, Bibles are on our phones. You sit and you read. You have concordances all over. Why do you have to get a Bible museum?
Margaret, so why is your MP all over social media? I mean, if you look at the statements from the Secretariat, they said they will not engage in anything for that social media war. Clearly, they are not happy. And if you, of course, we listened to Lerato saying that there was really no point running to social media when there are other channels by which he can have his grievances addressed.
Good morning, Bella.
Good morning again.
Good morning to your cherished viewers and your team. Bella, I'll start my submission with a quote from the Bible.
Hey, today we're in church.
As Nana said,
maybe you should quote something from the Quran as well.
As Nana said, we carry our Bibles nowadays, you know. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 4. The Bible says, when you vow a vow to God, do not delay paying it. For he is God. For he has no pleasure in fools. I'm quoting the Bible. He said, God has no pleasure in fools. So he goes on, pay what you vow. It is better that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 4. First Bible reading on big issue.
We should get ready for second Bible reading. Eh? Okay.
Bella, in all these, you know, I want my grandmother, who is currently at Agunan Sabah listening to me, to appreciate why we are here this morning. In all these, what is the benefit or the suffering of the Ghanaian taxpayer? Lerato goes about attacking the messenger. That's why is he on social media. It is this same member of parliament who called on the finance minister, and we got to know that so far the taxpayers' money, about 58 million, has gone into Nanado's private pledge to God. It is Honorable Ablakwa that did that in parliament. Why? He chooses to do his work in parliament and come to social media. The point is that is the act true or false? Not where he's doing it and who is doing it. But I must tell you, the gentleman is working in parliament. And he has oversight responsibilities as well. And he chooses to let Ghanaians know what exactly the government that has the social contract with us is doing with our taxes. Bella, where in the MPP manifesto did Nanado promise that he will build us a cathedral? I want Lerato and his people to tell us.
But he has come out to say that this was a pledge he made to God.
So, it's a pledge he made to God. Bella, why are our taxes involved? These 58 million Ghana cedis, 58 million US dollars. Do you know how much physician assistant it can employ? How many teachers this money can employ? How many nurses this money can employ and give them food with their dependents? The biggest hole in the center of Accra, Bella, before they even dug this most expensive hole in the world, they demolished the Malian embassy. There was a former minister during Professor Milson's time, the minister for energy, or TNJ, his residence was there. It's demolished. The passport office, the judges, all these were built with the taxpayers' money. They've brought them down.
There's even a private institution that's still
they
trying
are
to
even
get
in court
their,
for compensation.
Yeah, their compensation.
So the
at
country
moment.
is going to pay for all this, and we are paying for the building of the cathedral. So far, we've paid over 400 million in digging the most expensive hole in the world. And you say, wait, he shouldn't talk on social media. When people are not getting decent meal to eat in this country, go to Togo. Food is in abundance. Ghana, here, under President Akufo-Addo, we don't have food. And you want to build cathedral for who?
The Agric Minister says that's a lie. We have food in abundance.
Bella, we cannot even buy tea-roll. I have emphasized this statement every time I go to any broadcast media platform. We cannot even buy tissues. You want to build a cathedral. For which kind of God? When young girls are not getting jobs, you are pushing them into prostitution and sleeping with their fathers just to get money to buy sanitary pads. You want to build a cathedral for God? Really? What is happening to us? And you see, on the May Day, Bella, I didn't even intend to watch President Akufo-Addo. But mistakenly, I flipped through the channel and I saw that he was there. Before he came, Dr. Yauba, the Trade Union General Secretary, look at how he was giving it to the President of the Republic of Ghana. Bella, I was flabbergasted. Seriously surprised. You know, Bella, we've all been kissed before. With our siblings, when our fathers do something we don't like, we say it behind him. Yeah. We hide in our cubicles and we talk about it. Now, a president, where the account says that, say, onyami and shawa hinche, now we brenna kofa hinche niswa, ubia embuda. A president of the republic, your children are giving it to you in your face, rubbing it on his face. I felt so embarrassed.
But the other ones who voted him into office, so they should be able to tell him if they are not happy.
If the president listens, he would have been told this in chambers. But you see, because he doesn't listen, they brought it to him like that. I felt so bad and I was like, can this man even get up to speak? This is where we've gotten to. The National Cathedral, your trade union members are telling you that you are not making sense in building a national cathedral. We do not have hospitals enough. Nurses are not getting places to work. Our physician assistants are picketing and they are being arrested. So turn it into a national hospital. This is where Ghana we've gotten to. President Akufo-Addo. The Akufo-Addo that was so revered, the Akufo-Addo that was so feared. Now look at how they are putting X on his face, right under his nose. A president of the republic. And we are here today still talking about cathedral. Bella, what kind of God does Akufo-Addo worships? That you want to build him something? And there are so much controversies. When a bishop that Heward Mills resigned, he gave 6 reasons. The letter was later leaked into the public. He gave 6, and one of the reasons was that there is an invisible hand, somebody controlling the affairs without their knowledge as members of the board of trustees. And today, Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa has brought it live to us. That they are different people. And, you know, the Supreme Court... But
the Secretariat says that there are plans
the Supreme Court gave an order in the Kabilas issue. The Supreme Court stated that go and align. As of last year, you just mentioned the dates. Yeah. The Supreme Court gave that order. So 1 year on, why haven't they aligned? Bella, why haven't they aligned? And even besides the point, Bella, why do we need to use our money to help a president to build a cathedral, and yet he wants to steal from us again?
How does he want to steal from us?
You want to build a cathedral. You open a trustee somewhere to raise funds. In the US, this trustee have not filed their taxes to the US IRS. So as I speak with you, me, a Ghanaian, I do not know how much they have raised. The US government cannot also determine how much they have because they've not filed their taxes.
This is per what the Honorable has said, by the way.
Exactly, Bella. Me, the point is that our monies, when President Kufuor was promising God, as the Bible says, the Bible said that God does not take pleasure in fools. When you say a promise, redeem it. Why are you bringing all of us together that we wake up this morning and our monies are being spent? This president, Bella, what is it about? Everything that President Kufuor said before he became president, he's doing otherwise. I will not do family and friends. Look at his government. I am not corrupt. Any statements of corruption in this country, Nanado and
So your point here is that it's not a problem if they decide to incorporate the National Cathedral in the US. Maybe they should have just been a bit more transparent with us.
There
is that what you're saying?
There is no sense in it at all. You want to build a cathedral for God. You want to build a cathedral for God. How much has President Kufuor contributed in this whole cathedral thing?
Recently, I mean, he gave about 100,000 Ghana cedis or so when he was inspecting the facility.
So do you know
that is when we're told that we had spent some 339 million.
He even cut the sword for the cathedral before the architectural design came out, so he had to cut the sword again. Look at all this. How much has he invested in We have invested over 400 million Ghana cedis. And how much has he given?
We're told that he gave about 100,000 when he was inspecting the facility. That's when, cedis. That's when we're told.
And
that's when we were told about how much had been invested.
We consulted in the promise. That we cannot get 3 square mil, decent jobs, Bella. We are rather paying over 400 million into Nanado's personal pledge. Bella, into Nanado's personal pledge. Why? What is happening to us? Whatever this man says he will not do, he is doing it. I am not doing galamsey, yet the presidency is lying on the ground and they are digging him deep. Galamsey has beaten the presidency. What is this? What is wrong with us? Who did this to us? And people are quiet, enduring what these people are doing. What is it? So Nanado can scam everybody to understand that you want to build a cathedral you want to scam God. But he and God's factor, that is their own problem. But my point is that I, the taxpayer, I will not spend so much to go and buy cooking oil, which cannot last me for 2 weeks. I will not spend so much to go and buy Cindy rice, which cost me 10 Ghana cedi few days ago. Now it is over 170 Ghana cedis. I will not spend that money. Okay. Then you will take the taxes. Then you will scam God on top.
Okay.
You can scam God, but for me, I won't allow President Kufuor to do this to us. These are taxpayers' monies, and they must account for it. Now, in terms of priority, he has shown us that the cathedral is the supremo. But the point is that there should be transparency, and we are calling for accountability. So I will commend Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa today, tomorrow, and forever for doing such a human's job, for doing such a selfless job for this country.
If the tables had turned, and this was an expose on your party in power, would you still commend the MP for this?
If any NDC member goes to church and go and make a promise that God make me a president, when I did not bear witness to it, I will not give even my dues, 1 cedi Ghana's dues, to that person to build whatever promise he made.
All right.
I will not support it.
Okay.
It is wrong today and it is wrong tomorrow.
Well, just to put it to fact, so January 2nd is when the president went to inspect the National Cathedral, and that is when we're told that he made a donation of 100,000 Ghana cedis after he inspected. We'll be back to continue the conversation. Also, there's a grave concern about unemployment in Ghana and the fact that we have 1.76 million Ghanaians who at the moment have not had jobs since the last quarter of 2022. We'll come back and delve into that. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.